Has Japan's Tomahawk missile move now backfired, with Kim launching a missile toward Tokyo in direct response? Has North Korea just lit up the Sea of Japan with a fresh ballistic missile launch overnight? Is Japan now in serious trouble with Pyongyang, branded a war criminal state over its rapid rearmament push? Even as tensions rise, is Tokyo staying undeterred and quietly pushing toward nuclear capability on the Hiroshima anniversary itself?
As evidenced by the recent review conference of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, the path toward a world without nuclear weapons is by no means an easy one. However, precisely for that reason, we cannot afford to halt our efforts.
Has Prime Minister Takaichi angered Kim even further with her carefully worded nuclear pledge? On August 6, North Korea reportedly launched a ballistic missile toward the East Sea, reigniting fresh tensions across the region. This launch marked North Korea's first confirmed ballistic missile test in over 40 days, breaking a lengthy pause in weapons testing. According to South Korea's military, the missile was fired from the Wonsan area on the country's eastern coastline. South Korea strongly condemned the launch, calling it a direct violation of existing United Nations Security Council resolutions. This latest test also came just ahead of planned joint military exercises between the United States and South Korea later this month. Japan formally lodged a diplomatic protest against North Korea through its embassy channels based in Beijing.
We believe the ballistic missile that was launched landed off the east coast of the Korean peninsula. There is no indication of it landing within Japan's territory or our maritime exclusive economic zone. We have not currently received any reports of damage to aircraft or vessels navigating in the vicinity. North Korea's repeated actions, including multiple launches of ballistic and other weapons to date, threaten the peace and security of Japan, the region, and the international community. Furthermore, such launches of ballistic missiles violate the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions and pose a serious issue to public safety. We have lodged a stern protest with North Korea regarding this most recent launch via diplomatic channels at our embassy in Beijing, strongly condemning this act.
Analysts believe this latest test may be directly linked to recent criticism surrounding Japan's own Tomahawk missile firing exercises. Interestingly, the missile test comes a day after Kim Jong-un's sister accused Japan of rapidly transforming itself into what she called a war state. This warning came directly after Japan's latest defense review specifically cited China, Russia, and North Korea as key security threats on August 5. Tokyo has responded by sharply increasing its military spending, signing new defense pacts and deploying additional missile systems. Japan's own defense minister has publicly called for a faster military buildup, describing the situation with a clear sense of urgency. Kim Yo-jong warned that Pyongyang would now prepare additional military options specifically in response to Japan's growing buildup. Tokyo also recently tested Tomahawk missiles of its own and joined US-led military drills held in the Philippines. Kim Yo-jong said, and I quote, "Japan, a war criminal state, is accelerating its transformation into a war state. Tokyo is moving to formulate the possession of the capability for preemptive attack. We will never remain a passive onlooker to the military evolution of Japan, which may pose a grave threat. If the descendants of militarism, who have inherited the genes of cunning and aggression, have seized deadly weapons in their hands, something unpleasant will happen." Unquote. The missile test came right as Japan marked exactly 81 years since the atomic bombing of Hiroshima during World War II. Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi attended this year's Hiroshima ceremony for the very first time since taking office as premier. Interestingly, in her speech, Takaichi notably avoided directly pledging to maintain Japan's long-standing 3 non-nuclear principles.
Japan steadfastly upholds the 3 non-nuclear principles and, as the only country to have suffered atomic bombings in war, bears the mission of tirelessly pursuing the realization of a world without nuclear weapons. The global security environment is currently becoming increasingly severe. As evidenced by the recent review conference of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, the path toward a world without nuclear weapons is by no means an easy one. However, precisely for that reason, we cannot afford to halt our efforts.
These carefully worded remarks sparked fresh questions over how Japan's defense and nuclear posture may be quietly evolving. Notably, Japan continues expanding its rearmament efforts amid China's ongoing military buildup and North Korea's repeated missile tests. Japan has successfully fired a US-made Tomahawk cruise missile from one of its warships for the very first time in a landmark military test. The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force destroyer Chokai carried out the live fire test in the Pacific Ocean with operational support from the United States on July 29. The successful launch marks a major milestone in Japan's efforts to build a credible long-range standoff strike capability against potential regional threats. Japan has now become only the third country outside the United States to successfully fire a Tomahawk cruise missile from a surface warship. The Tomahawk missile will give Japan the capability to strike targets nearly 1,000 miles away with high precision if required during a conflict. Japan says the acquisition of these missiles is intended to strengthen deterrence while remaining consistent with its defense-oriented national security policy. Japan's Defense Ministry statement read, and I quote, "This live-fire test demonstrates steady progress in the Tomahawk project, and the Ministry of Defense will continue to work towards the early establishment of standoff defense capabilities," unquote. Tokyo is purchasing up to 400 Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States under a deal estimated to be worth around $1 billion. Both the Block 4 and the newer Block V variants of the Tomahawk missile will become part of Japan's expanding long-range strike arsenal. The Tomahawk missiles are expected to serve as an interim capability until Japan's own indigenous long-range weapons become fully operational. The US Navy helped modernize the destroyer, train its crew, and support the missile's first successful live fire test in the Pacific. More Japanese Aegis-equipped destroyers are expected to receive Tomahawk upgrades as Tokyo continues expanding its long-range strike capabilities. The successful missile test signals a significant shift in Japan's defense posture as tensions with China and North Korea continue to grow. The development comes just days after the United States, Japan, and the Philippines concluded a 5-day maritime exercise on July 25, underscoring closer regional defense cooperation. Amid rising tensions between China and Taiwan, the United States and its Asian allies have just wrapped up a massive set of joint drills in the South China Sea, underscoring their shared concerns about Beijing's behavior. The US, Japan, and the Philippines ended a major 5-day maritime exercise on July 25, after operating together at sea from July 21 to 25. These drills brought together warships, Coast Guard vessels, fighter jets, and surveillance aircraft, forming a multi-layered joint force across the contested waters. The Philippine military said the exercises were focused on improving allied interoperability, ensuring the three forces can operate seamlessly in any future crisis. The drills mark the latest expansion of trilateral security cooperation in the region, part of a broader pattern of increasingly frequent and complex joint activities.
We extend our sincere appreciation for the successful conduct of today's 17th Multilateral Mutual Cooperative Activity. Your teamwork, precision, and cooperation greatly contributed to the success of our engagement. It was an honor to train alongside you. We look forward to more opportunities to sail and train together as nations striving for the rule of law and freedom of navigation. We hope you enjoyed your stay in the Philippines. Until we meet again, fair winds and following seas. Onwards!
These exercises are just the latest in a growing series of trilateral security drills, each one expanding in scale and ambition as tensions with China climb. Manila, backed firmly by Washington and Tokyo, is using these drills to counter China's sweeping maritime claims and reinforce its own position in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine military deliberately did not disclose the exact location of the exercises, a move likely intended to avoid giving Beijing a specific point to contest. Interestingly, Chinese Navy and Coast Guard ships have shadowed similar drills in the past, monitoring Allied movements and often criticizing the exercises as destabilizing.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.